Welcome to the Thyroidless Life podcast with me, Dr. Rebecca Warren. This podcast is for you if you've been diagnosed with a thyroid disorder, think you might have a thyroid disorder, or are healing after thyroidectomy. I'm doing this podcast because of my own personal health journey of being diagnosed with thyroid cancer, getting my thyroid cut out, getting high-dose radiation, and being left with no answers when my health started to deteriorate quickly. It wasn't until I drew a line in the sand that my health transformed, and now I've dedicated my life to sharing this information so others don't have to go down that same path. My hope is that you never feel alone on your health journey and that you understand how incredible your body is, that it's not working against you, it's working with you, and it wants to be well. All right, guys, so let's talk about what it looks like to make one change in how you take your thyroid meds that can have a major impact on how you heal, feel, and function. First, we got to give a couple of disclaimers before I get started. Number one, do not go off and do all these crazy things with your thyroid meds, changing everything up without talking to your prescriber, right? That standard medical disclaimer. This is for education. But I do want to give you one caveat. It is so important for you to educate yourself, to read research, to watch videos like this, to understand what's going on in your body so that when you do go into your doctor's office, you can have informed decision-making conversations. You cannot go into this medical system expecting that they're going to know everything and do everything that's best for you because you're living in your body every single day. So remember that. Please remember, this is meant to educate you and to give you more options to discuss with your doctor and to feel respected in that conversation. That's really, really important. The second little disclaimer I am going to give, I have a lot of people that listen to me all over the world. Some of you guys have a thyroid, some of you guys don't. So those of you guys that don't have a thyroid, obviously you need to be on thyroid meds. Some of you guys have been on thyroid meds long term and your thyroid was destroyed from autoimmunity. You have to be on thyroid meds. But for those of you guys that just got recently diagnosed with a thyroid issue or are looking to heal your thyroid, listen, my disclaimer from this is there's a time and a place for thyroid meds. If you're in the hole, if your thyroid hormones are just completely shot, you're just out of range, low end of the range, it affects everything in your life. But the goal should be to heal your thyroid so you don't have to be a pharmaceutical patient when it comes to thyroid meds for the rest of your life. I will preach this from the rooftops because so many of you guys think that going to your doctor and now they identified that you have a thyroid issue and you leave with thyroid meds and you think, hey, I'm good. I got this problem taken care of, when the problem's only getting worse over time. And that's not okay. So your goal should be to heal your thyroid so you don't need thyroid meds. But let's talk about what you can do. And I'm also going to share what I do because a lot of you guys love to hear my own personal experience. So let's talk about when you're taking your thyroid meds. One thing I hate about the way a lot of doctors can approach thyroid meds and even the medical system is a lot of people think that just take it in the morning, you're good to go. It's a very not individualized approach when it comes to thyroid meds because the idea is that we got it all figured out. The American Thyroid Association agrees that T4 is the best form, and all these endocrinologists believe this, so everyone should be on T4 the same way. Take it in the morning. We might change it up with how much you're taking, but that should be it for you. You should be good to go. I hear that all the time, like T4 is it. But man, I hate that because it takes away the fact they were bio-individuals. Like my health history, my gut health, my liver health, my sex hormones, my blood sugar, it's going to be very different than yours and your neighbors and the next person's, and how we respond to meds it's going to be different. And so the idea that everyone can take T4, take it in the morning, boom, moving on, is not correct. And there's so many of you guys that are suffering because of the outdated, very generic, everyone's the same thinking. And that's scary because that's going to affect not just your overall health, but what your health is going to look like in the future. So when and if you have to use thyroid meds, you have to get it into your head that how you take it, what kind of support you need, what it's going to look like for you needs to be individualized to you. So, that being said, sometimes when you take thyroid meds in the morning, you can still feel this really big slump, fatigue, brain fog, rundown in the afternoon and evening. So, splitting your thyroid med dose into two dosages can help address this. Now, this is going to be this is for the people that are taking T3 along with T4. So, if you're adding Cytomel to like a T4, leucothionine, or if you're in a natural desiccated thyroid hormone, you could possibly benefit from splitting up that dose. Now, the reason for this is about the half-life. It's the half-life of these meds. Like with T4, we're looking at, over a week, right? Like we're getting to 6, 7 days. So you're having this kind of steady amount of T4 in your body, not these like peaks and crashes. And the other thing to understand with T4 is that you have to activate it, you have to convert it. A lot of you guys are not doing that efficiently, and that's why you feel like crap, but that's a side note there. But when you introduce T3, T3 can have a peak, like the spike, right? Looking 4 to 6 hours after taking it. And then we're looking at that half-life going to the 18 to 24-hour mark. It's that peak and coming down that can be hard for people. Not everyone, but it can be hard for a lot of people. So by splitting that dose, what you could see is more of a steady, more aligned with what your thyroid hormone is going to do. Your thyroid hormone, like your, not your thyroid hormone, your thyroid is not just going to dump out all these hormones. It's usually in response to just what's happening in your internal, external environment. There's a lot of adaptability that happens there that you're losing when you're on thyroid meds. So if you find that you are taking T4, T3, and if your levels are optimal in the functional range, this is really important, not just medical range, and you're still feeling that crash and burn in the evening and afternoon, maybe splitting up that T3 could be beneficial for you. I also want to add a little point here. I've talked about this in videos before, but when I talk about that peak of T3, this is also why I think it's crazy that a lot of you guys haven't gotten labs done fasted. So, taking your thyroid meds the morning before, especially if you're taking T3, and then getting your blood work done the next morning, and then taking your thyroid hormones after that. Because a lot of you guys might be getting the peak of having to have taken the thyroid meds, not an overall baseline of what your thyroid meds look like. That peak of processing in the blood work can give like dysregulate, like results that don't make sense. Let me give you an example. I usually see people that have those hypo symptoms, and it's like, oh, you have all the signs and symptoms that this isn't enough for you, but then you get your blood work done. And what you see is you see this kind of TSH, might be lower, might be within range. That T4 looks okay. And then that T3 is like through the roof. And it's like, what? Like, I don't feel that way. And in situations where I've guided my clients or my community members to go get blood work done without taking those T3 like right before the meds, what we find is that they're actually their T3 baseline and kind of what it's looking like throughout the day is not that high out of range. That high out of range was because of that circulating T3 when you took the med. So that's just a side note. I wasn't going to mention that in this video, but that's something to take into consideration because it can give you frustrating results and you're like, I don't feel hyper. It's like, oh, okay, it's that peak of the med that I took. But going back to that split dose, not everyone feels this way. It could be you just do better with the one dose. You have a different way of metabolizing the med, whatever it may be. Not everyone feels this way. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you my personal experiences. I didn't feel this way for a really long time. I would take just T4, T3 in the morning and I was fine. But I shared in a previous video episode where I talked about how I have to change because I've been on thyroid meds long term, I have to change how I do things. And you have to be open to the fact that your body thrives off diversity. It's not meant to take the same thing from the same source, the same amount over and over and over again for the rest of your life. Nothing Nothing about our bodies are like that. And it makes sense that so many of you guys that have been on thyroid meds long term have reported to me the same thing. I am on the same amount. It no longer works. What's going on? It's time to switch everything up. So that's what happened to me here recently. And to switch up the type of thyroid med I was taking, I went from Cytomel and leothreonine, which I did fantastic on for a few years and during pregnancy, to switching to Armour Thyroid, which I have not been on in like 15 years. I think 14 years, around that amount. And for the first time in my journey, I got hit with all the signs and symptoms that I've got to split that dose. And how do I know? Like, how do you know? Like, what do you mean? Like, how should I be feeling? And I always share that hypothyroid symptoms is something you feel to your core. It is not just I'm tired. It is something that you feel like in your bones. It's like a cellular thing where the ability to respond to the things that life needs from you, from what your kids need from you, from what you need to get done, you just at your core feel like you can't do it. Another sign is, like I always say, if you're feeling like, if I gave you 10 hours of sleep and you could take a nap the next day, that is a sign of symptom, that brain fog where things, it's like you're walking underwater. All of those are signs and symptoms possibly of not being optimal or maybe needing extra support when it comes to those thyroid hormones. And I'm going to make another note here because I've heard this in the past, especially with people that have done deep dive consultations with me where they work one-on-one and we look at their labs. Oh no, well, Dr. Becca, my sleep is great. I can fall asleep easily and I can sleep through the night. And I'm like, oh, no, that's not you falling asleep because your body is ready and the melatonin and cortisol is balanced. That's you falling asleep because you were coming from a place of cortisol all day and you're crashing. And that's why you can just fall asleep at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night and sleep 10 hours. And it's not even deep, restorative, healing sleep. You're doing all of that because you just don't have enough energy, and that sleep is not restorative because of what's going on with your T3 and your thyroid hormone levels. So that's just another note I want to make there. So, but if you are on the meds that you need to be on and everything looks optimal, then that could be a possibility for you that you should go talk to your prescriber like, hey, how should I split this and see how you feel? Another thing to note, which across the board, it's said not to take T3 later in the day because it could give you a lot of energy, but this is another one of those things that I'll admit I have taken in seasons where it was just better for fasting for me to take my thyroid meds at night, and I've done fine. I've seen clients who's, take it at night. Prescribers are fine with it as I'm coaching them and they feel great. So again, every body is different. It's important to understand like how your body responds. Like, you've got to experiment and see what works best for you so that you can feel the most optimal when you're doing this. So again, guys, if you need to know like, okay, maybe do I need to split dose? First, get the things right that you need to get right. A complete wellness panel. I have a link here in the notes section where you can get my free complete wellness panel. It talks about what to get and why. Like what are we looking for here? Especially look at, your full thyroid panel. Don't just be like, oh, I'm going to take T4 and like split it. No, that's not what I'm saying. And again, this is about T3. What I'm saying is you've got to know first what your levels are. Second, are you on the right meds for you? And are you optimizing those meds? And then next, if you're taking T3 and you need to split it, then listening to your body and understanding that. What works for me doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you, but this is something that can be really life-changing if that's something that you need. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to leave a 5-star review. I love being able to see and read how this information is helping you on your health journey. And make sure to subscribe to the podcast. That way, when new episodes are live, you can have it automatically downloaded to wherever you listen to your podcast. The number one question I get asked is, how do I work with you? If you are interested in finding out more information about me and being a part of my community, go to my website, drrebeccawarren.com. That's dr.rebeccawarren.com, and you should be able to find the answer to to your questions there, as well as checking out my Thyroid Inner Circle membership group, getting access to the free Thyroid Labs ebook that I have available for you, and so much more great information.